Listen closely, because if you're hearing this, it's not an accident. You were meant to. Tesla once said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. What if he wasn't speaking metaphorically, but literally? Right now, as you breathe, an invisible current moves through you, the same current that powers galaxies, thoughts, and time itself. This is the energy Tesla touched, decoded, and tried to share with the world, but his discovery was buried, hidden, until now, when you're ready to remember. Tesla once said that everything in the universe vibrates, that even the stillness between heartbeats hums with a kind of silent rhythm. Most people hear that and think of sound, of motion, of something mechanical. But Tesla heard intelligence. He felt that every particle was not just moving, but communicating, pulsing with a kind of awareness that existed beneath matter itself. He realized that the universe isn't built from things, but from patterns of vibration, waves of possibility arranging themselves into the appearance of form. And if that's true, then the secret to creation isn't in the substance. It's in the frequency. Imagine that for a moment. What if the walls around you, the air you're breathing, the thoughts passing through your mind, all of it is a field of energy vibrating at different rates, creating the illusion of separation? Tesla's insight was that if you could find the right vibration, the original unifying tone, you could access energy that doesn't run out because it's not coming from a source outside of you. It's coming from the field itself, from the same ocean of vibration that gives rise to you, me, stars, and time. He called it the ether, that invisible medium he believed filled all of space. To him, the ether wasn't empty. It was pregnant with potential. It was the quantum heartbeat of existence, carrying infinite energy, waiting to be tuned into. And Tesla, unlike anyone else, believed that a machine could be designed not to force energy, but to resonate with it, to harmonize with that universal frequency, until the energy simply flowed effortlessly, like breath through lungs that had always belonged to the cosmos. But here's where it gets more mysterious. Tesla didn't just think this field could power engines or light cities. He felt it could awaken human consciousness. He wrote about the sensation of seeing the air alive with light when he was alone in his laboratory late at night, surrounded by the low hum of unseen forces. He described it not as a hallucination, but as revelation, the moment when the boundary between self and source began to dissolve. What he was touching wasn't electricity in the way we know it. It was consciousness in current. It was life remembering itself as light. When he spoke of frequency, he wasn't just describing a number on a dial. He was describing the state of the soul. Every emotion, every thought, every intention vibrates. Love, fear, wonder. They each carry a signature frequency, and that frequency interacts with the field that connects all things. Tesla saw what mystics and quantum physicists would later echo, that reality doesn't just happen to us. It responds through us. The field listens because we are made of the same energy that forms it. So when Tesla sought to harness free energy, he wasn't trying to defy nature. He was trying to listen to it. He saw nature as a symphony of frequencies already in perfect balance, and humanity's role was not to dominate that symphony, but to learn its melody. He once said that if we could only understand non-physical vibrations, we would have the keys to the universe, and that's the heart of his first revelation. The forgotten frequency isn't out there in some distant machine or secret equation. It's within the very fabric of your being. You've felt it before. In those rare moments of stillness when the noise of thought quiets and something vast moves through you, that gentle pulse of awareness, that feeling of timeless connection, that's the same frequency Tesla was chasing. The same current that powers the stars hums quietly behind your heartbeat. When you begin to sense it, to attune to it, life starts to organize itself differently. Coincidences align, energy returns, clarity replaces confusion, because you're no longer moving against a current. You're remembering that you are the current. Tesla's lost quantum secret wasn't about inventing a new technology. It was about remembering an ancient truth, that everything from the tiniest atom to the most distant galaxy is vibrating in one grand field of connection. He glimpsed the living fabric of creation and realized that to access infinite energy, we don't need to build more machines. We need to become more aligned, to tune our awareness, our emotions, and our intentions to the natural resonance of the universe. And in that resonance, he found the first key. Energy is not created or destroyed. It's only translated, from silence to sound, from thought to form, from consciousness into light. You are that translation. The forgotten frequency isn't lost, it's simply waiting for you to remember the sound of your own vibration. History likes to tell us that Tesla failed, that his grand visions of limitless energy were too impractical, too idealistic, too far ahead of his time. But failure is the word the fearful use when they cannot understand the unmeasurable. What if Tesla didn't fail at all? What if what he touched was so vast, so paradigm-shattering, that the world simply wasn't ready to receive it? Imagine holding a frequency that could rewrite the very architecture of civilization, a vibration that could end scarcity, dissolve hierarchies, and render control systems obsolete. That's not science fiction, that's what Tesla was truly reaching for. And when you realize that, you begin to see why his work disappeared into the shadows. He once dreamed of transmitting energy wirelessly, not through copper or steel, but through the atmosphere itself, to send power across the earth as easily as radio waves carry music through the air. To most, that sounded impossible. But Tesla wasn't talking about power in the way we define it. He was talking about resonance. He discovered that, when two frequencies vibrate in perfect harmony, distance disappears, connection becomes instantaneous. He wanted to give the world not just electricity, but a reminder of unity, a living symbol that everything, even power itself, is shared. And yet, the moment you propose infinite energy, you threaten every system built on limitation. You shake the foundations of commerce, politics, control. If every person could draw energy directly from the earth or the field, if you could light your home, power your world, and heal your body simply by tuning to a certain vibration, what would happen to the industries that profit from lack? The ones that tell you you're dependent, small, powerless without their permission? Tesla wasn't just building technology, he was dissolving dependence. And that, more than anything, could not be allowed to spread. But the beauty of truth is that it cannot be destroyed, only delayed. The field that Tesla tapped into still surrounds us, still hums beneath our feet and behind our thoughts. It was never lost, only hidden by noise, buried beneath disbelief, and sealed away behind the illusion that reality is something external. The suppression wasn't just the confiscation of notes or the burning of blueprints, it was the programming of consciousness itself. The world was taught to forget that energy and awareness are one and the same. We were taught to see ourselves as consumers, not creators. And yet that infinite current still waits, patient and alive, for the moment humanity remembers its own circuitry. You can feel the truth of it, can't you? That subtle ache that says there's more to life than the transactions and the struggle. That quiet whisper that reminds you energy isn't earned, it's received. Tesla felt that same whisper in the silence of his laboratory. He knew that the ultimate power source wasn't machinery, it was consciousness. The generator was the human heart, coherent, tuned, and aware. That's why he spoke of frequency, vibration, and resonance. Because when the heart and mind align, they create a harmonic that pierces the veil of limitation. You begin to access the same energy he tried to broadcast, the energy that carries both power and intelligence, both light and life. When Tesla's towers went dark, the story didn't end. It just moved inward, into the invisible. What was once meant to radiate across continents now seeks to awaken inside individuals. You are part of that same experiment. The field he touched is the same one that flows through you right now. And in this age of awakening, what was once hidden is rising again, not as technology to be owned, but as awareness to be embodied. The paradox is that the energy Tesla tried to give to the world was never his to give. It already belonged to everyone. The only reason it could be suppressed is because humanity agreed to believe in scarcity. But the moment you remember that you are already plugged into the infinite, that your attention, emotion, and intention are forms of electricity, you begin to reverse that spell. The field responds, the current awakens, and what was once a forbidden discovery becomes a living experience, energy that cannot be contained, only shared through consciousness. So no, Tesla didn't fail. He succeeded in planting a frequency, a seed of remembrance, in the human mind. It went underground like a buried circuit, waiting for a future generation attuned enough to feel its signal. That generation is now. The energy he touched has always been here, but now it has eyes to see itself again. Through you. Tesla eventually came to understand that the secret he was chasing out there, in his machines, his towers, his coils of lightning, was also pulsing within him. He began to sense that the universe wasn't just a vast mechanism of energy, but a mirror, a quantum mirror. Everything he studied, every experiment that illuminated the darkness of his lab, was reflecting a deeper principle, that the true generator of reality is consciousness itself. He realized that the observer is not separate from what is observed, that the field doesn't exist out there, waiting to be tapped, but in here, waiting to be remembered. This was the revelation that changed everything. If energy, frequency, and vibration are the building blocks of existence, then consciousness is the conductor that arranges them. What you hold in awareness doesn't simply pass through the world, it shapes it. Every thought sends a subtle pattern through the field. Every emotion charges that pattern with frequency, and every belief programs it with direction. You are, in the most literal sense, collapsing potential into form, choosing which version of reality becomes visible. Tesla began to understand this as he studied resonance, noticing that machines responded to the same laws as the human mind. When you vibrate at the right frequency, resistance disappears, power flows effortlessly, creation becomes coherence. He wasn't just trying to transmit energy through the air, he was trying to transmit awakening through vibration. That's why he spoke of harmony, of rhythm, of the symphony of the cosmos. He saw that every living being is both transmitter and receiver, constantly exchanging data with the quantum field. When your inner vibration is chaotic, fear, doubt, shame, the signal distorts and reality reflects that confusion back to you. But when you tune yourself, through presence, clarity, love, your signal becomes pure. The field responds instantly, rearranging circumstances to match your state. That's not magic, that's physics at a higher octave. Tesla's notebooks were filled with sketches of energy spirals, waves folding into themselves, feedback loops of light. To him, these weren't just scientific observations. They were symbols of consciousness itself, showing that energy and awareness are recursive, self-creating, infinite. He saw that the human being is a miniature version of the cosmos, a living resonator capable of amplifying the universal current. The irony was that the technology he was building outside was always a metaphor for the technology within, your own nervous system, your own electromagnetic field, your own coherent heart. The real quantum device was never the machine, it was the human. And yet, most people still look for power outside of themselves. They chase it in achievements, possessions, identities, trying to plug into an external source, not realizing that they are the source. Tesla's insight invites us back inward, to remember that every single one of us carries the blueprint of creation encoded in our frequency. When you meditate, when you breathe deeply, when you align thought and emotion with intention, you're not escaping reality, you're programming it. You're tuning the instrument that the universe plays through. Think about this. A single coherent thought, felt with genuine emotion, can alter matter at the subatomic level. That's been proven again and again in quantum experiments. The observer effect isn't just a laboratory curiosity, it's a mirror showing us our forgotten role as co-creators. Tesla's secret wasn't about controlling the field, it was about becoming conscious of it. When you realize that awareness itself is energy, you stop trying to manipulate reality and start harmonizing with it. The more you align, the less you need to force, because life begins to mirror your inner state automatically. Tesla once said, "The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all the previous centuries. That day quietly has begun, not just in laboratories, but in human hearts awakening to their own field of influence. The next frontier of energy isn't mechanical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual. The same power Tesla sought to broadcast through the air now flows through consciousness itself, through you, through anyone willing to feel deeply and think clearly enough to become a conduit of coherence. So when you close your eyes and feel that hum behind your thoughts, that subtle vibration that seems to listen when you speak inwardly, know that it's not imagination. It's the field, waiting for instruction, waiting for you to remember that you're not here to chase energy. You're here to express it. You're not here to observe the universe. You're here to generate it. And in that recognition, the line between observer and observed dissolves completely, and all that remains is the current, aware of itself, dreaming as you. There comes a point when the search for truth no longer feels like reaching outward, but like turning inside out, as if the universe itself begins to fold back toward you, whispering its secrets through every movement of light and sound. Tesla reached that point when he began to understand that the energy he studied wasn't just electricity or magnetism, but something more primal, an intelligence that existed before matter, before time, before thought. He called it the ether, but what he was really describing was the energy that connects everything, the invisible current that binds the fabric of existence together in one infinite breathing organism. You can feel this energy if you become still enough. It's not loud or dramatic. It's the subtle vibration that sits behind every heartbeat, the quiet hum that animates even the spaces between your thoughts. The ancients spoke of it as spirit, chi, prana, mana, countless names for one essence that never changes, only expresses itself differently. Tesla saw it as electricity, mystics saw it as love, and maybe both were right, because love is simply the way the universe experiences its own connection. When you feel that unexplainable warmth that moves through your chest at the sight of beauty, or the sudden peace that arrives when you let go, that's the same current Tesla was measuring, only translated into human emotion. Everything is built from this one living energy, and yet it takes on an infinite number of forms. It is the paradox of unity disguised as diversity. The same light that burns in a star also lives inside your cells. The same frequency that holds galaxies in orbit holds the atoms in your body together. You are not standing within the universe observing it. You are an expression of its totality, temporarily shaped as a human perspective. The energy that connects everything is not just around you, it's being you. And that realization changes everything. When Tesla said, to understand the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, he was pointing to this hidden unity. Everything you perceive, sight, sound, sensation, is simply vibration interpreted by awareness. Even your emotions are frequencies, rising and falling like tides in the quantum sea. When you are joyful, you are in resonance with the higher harmonics of the field. When you are fearful, your signal becomes distorted, but the connection never breaks. It only waits for you to tune yourself back to truth, to the knowing that you were never separate to begin with. This is why all great spiritual traditions speak of oneness. It isn't poetic idealism, it's physics wrapped in poetry. Every heartbeat sends a measurable electromagnetic wave into the field around you, and that wave interacts with the field of others. Every thought you think ripples outward, shaping the unseen environment of possibility. When you realize this, compassion stops being a moral choice and becomes a recognition of structure. To harm another is to disrupt the same field that sustains you. To love another is to amplify your own coherence, because love is resonance made visible. Tesla sensed this interconnectedness in flashes of inspiration so intense they bordered on mystical. He spoke of ideas that arrived fully formed, as if downloaded from some higher realm of intelligence. He said he could feel the hum of the cosmos, the rhythm of the planets, the pulse of creation itself. And maybe he could, because when your consciousness becomes attuned to the field, information moves differently. You stop thinking and start receiving. You stop analyzing and start remembering. The energy that connects everything begins to speak through intuition, synchronicity, and insight. guiding you not as an external force, but as your own higher frequency awakening through form. This is what it means to live in alignment with the field. It's not about escaping the physical world. It's about realizing that the physical world is the field expressing itself as touchable music. Every experience, every person, every event is the field conversing with itself, showing you different versions of its infinite potential. And when you respond consciously, when you recognize that what moves through you is what moves through the stars, something extraordinary happens. The boundaries dissolve. The idea of you and life becomes one fluid current, flowing without resistance, without separation, without fear. Tesla's discovery wasn't just scientific, it was sacred. He glimpsed the divine circuitry of existence, the realization that everything is energy, and that energy is aware. You are part of that awareness. The light in your eyes is the universe recognizing itself, and the moment you truly feel that, not as an idea, but as a living truth, the illusion of isolation collapses. The energy that connects everything becomes unmistakable, and you realize it has been here all along, breathing through you, dreaming as you, waiting only for your recognition to complete the circuit. Science eventually caught up to what Tesla had already intuited, that matter is not solid, that the universe is not built of things but of relationships. Beneath every atom there is space, and within that space, movement, vibration, pattern, potential. What we call reality is simply the choreography of these invisible waves, dancing to the rhythm of an unseen intelligence. Tesla glimpsed it long before quantum physics had a name for it. He saw that the physical world is a projection of frequencies, a song translated into form, and that the key to understanding creation lies not in the particles themselves, but in the melody that moves them. Decades later, scientists would confirm the same truth through the observer effect, the startling discovery that the act of observation changes what is observed. A particle will behave differently, depending on whether it is being watched. To Tesla, this wouldn't have been surprising. He already knew that consciousness is not a passive witness, but an active participant. Awareness doesn't stand outside the universe measuring it. Awareness at sea is the universe becoming aware of itself. The observer effect is not a glitch in the code of physics. It is the code revealing its source. And that realization changes everything. It means reality isn't something that happens to you. It's something that happens through you. The quantum field isn't just out there, waiting to be discovered by instruments and equations. It responds to the frequency of your awareness, to the quality of your attention. Every thought you hold, every emotion you sustain, is a signal sent into that field, instructing it what to organize into form. Most people send those signals unconsciously, broadcasting fear, doubt, and limitation, then wondering why their lives echo with noise. But when you become conscious of your signal, when you learn to feel your thoughts as vibration, you begin to realize that the universe is listening, always, and answering in kind. Tesla's greatest insight, the one history never fully understood, was that consciousness and energy are not two separate forces, they are reflections of one another. Energy is consciousness in motion, consciousness is energy aware of itself. This is why your inner world and outer world are mirrors. Change the frequency within, and the patterns without rearrange themselves. The quantum field is not judging, not withholding. It is neutral, obedient, precise. It responds to resonance. It reflects coherence. It becomes what you are. This is the blueprint Tesla discovered but could not fully express. The machines were metaphors. The towers, the coils, the sparks, all symbolic attempts to describe something deeper, the way energy flows through attention. He was trying to teach that the universe is participatory, that life itself is feedback between intention and manifestation. You are the transmitter and receiver, the circuitry through which creation updates itself in every moment. Modern physics now speaks of entanglement, the mysterious connection between particles separated by impossible distances, able to influence each other instantaneously, but Tesla had already sensed this through intuition. He knew that separation is an illusion, that space is not empty but woven with information. Entanglement is not the exception, it's the rule. The entire universe is entangled with itself. When you shift, even slightly, the whole field adjusts. Every awakening, every act of love, every moment of coherence ripples across creation, altering its structure. Nothing exists in isolation. And so the true technology of the future is not external, it's consciousness refined. The machines Tesla dreamed of were simply early expressions of a deeper principle, that we are meant to become the conductors of reality itself. The more coherent, centered, and awake you become, the more your external world begins to echo your inner design. This is why miracles don't defy the laws of nature, they reveal them. The quantum field is always responsive. It just mirrors the state of the one who observes it. To rediscover Tesla's blueprint is to remember that every breath is a form of creation. Every focus of your attention is a brushstroke on the canvas of the field. The energy you emit through thought, emotion, and belief becomes the architecture of your world. You are not small. You are not separate. You are a point of consciousness through which the universe learns to see itself more clearly. And when you finally accept that, when you begin to live as if your awareness truly matters, the quantum field moves differently, more fluidly, more beautifully, because you've stopped fighting with reality and started composing it. That's the hidden truth Tesla knew, that the universe is not a machine but a mind, not a system to be conquered but a symphony to be played in harmony. The blueprint is not outside of you. It's the pattern you feel when you are still enough to listen. And in that silence, you realize what Tesla realized, that the observer and the observed were never two, and that creation itself is an ongoing conversation between awareness and energy, endlessly forming, endlessly remembering, endlessly becoming. There comes a moment when the search ends, and something inside you quietly turns around. You realize you were never looking for energy, truth, or power. You were looking for yourself. The entire journey from Tesla's first spark to your own awakening has been one long act of remembrance. The energy that connects everything has never been hidden. It has only been waiting for recognition. That is the real revelation, that you are not the seeker of the current. You are the current, disguised as a seeker, learning to feel your own flow again. Tesla knew this in flashes that transcended intellect. He wrote of standing in his laboratory surrounded by arcs of blue-white light, feeling not like their creator, but like their reflection. In those moments, he wasn't observing energy, he was it, aware of itself in human form. That's what the mystics meant when they spoke of enlightenment, and what the physicists touch when they study consciousness. The understanding that awareness and energy are two sides of the same presence. You can sense it even now, that subtle hum beneath your skin, the pulse that seems to synchronize with something larger than your body. That is the field recognizing itself through you. When you breathe deeply and become still, notice how the world begins to mirror your inner state. The rhythm of your heart slows, and the space around you softens. The wind seems to pause. The light bends a little differently. It's not imagination, it's resonance. The field is responding, aligning to the coherence of your awareness. Every time you choose calm over chaos, gratitude over fear, clarity over confusion, you bring the frequency of your consciousness closer to the frequency of the source. You become a clearer channel through which the current can move. You begin to live the very truth Tesla was pointing toward, that the highest form of power is effortless alignment. The paradox is that the more you try to grasp this energy, the further it slips from your fingers, because you cannot hold what you already are. You can only allow it. The current doesn't need your effort, it needs your openness. The moment you stop trying to decontrol the field and instead feel it, everything begins to shift. Synchronicities appear, the right people arrive, the next step reveals itself. The same intelligence that moves planets begins to move through the details of your life. That's not coincidence. That's communication. The universe has always been interactive, responding to the signal of your consciousness, waiting for you to remember the language of resonance. And that is what Tesla's final message whispers through time. Become the current. Live as the frequency of what you seek. If you want clarity, embody clarity. If you want abundance, feel abundance as your natural vibration. If you want peace, breathe it into existence through your own nervous system. The field cannot resist coherence. It reorganizes itself around it. The more coherent you become, the more your external world synchronizes with the pattern of your inner world. Life begins to echo your state of being with mathematical precision, because the two are no longer separate. So pause right now. Breathe. Feel the subtle electricity beneath your hands, the tingling awareness that reminds you this body is not a container, but a conductor. With every breath, energy moves through you, from the infinite to the intimate. You are not the wave lost in the ocean. You are the ocean remembering its shape as a wave. That remembrance is the awakening Tesla foresaw, humanity realizing that consciousness itself is the ultimate form of technology, the interface between energy and existence. This is the invitation. Stop searching for the light and become it. Stop asking for proof and live as presence. When you walk, let every step be an electrical signal of gratitude. When you speak, let your words carry coherence into the field. When you love, let it be without measure, because that's the vibration the universe understands best. The field responds instantly to the frequency of a heart aligned with truth. You were never separate from the power Tesla discovered. You are its continuation, the living circuitry of the cosmos. The moment you remember this, the illusion of limitation dissolves, and the hidden energy that connects everything begins to move through you consciously, reshaping your reality in real time. So breathe it in, feel it move, and from this moment forward, let your life itself be the transmission.